sports. Those of you who go online a lot, there's a website called sportstv.com where I do a blog. I've only blogged a couple of times with them. I'm going to start blogging more. Hopefully I'll be able to give myself a computer soon so I can put my photos of my daughter online, but that's another topic. But check me out there, and you know, I thank you for your support. Kind of like it without the music, don't you? I mean, we might do we might do a little bit of a bad section with the music, but we'll just keep it going. And there's only one other comment I wanted to make in the good section. I was going to talk about how, University of Houston, folks. What do you do about them? I know a lot of people don't think they deserve any type of, you know, place in the BCS because they don't play a lot of tough competition, but they did play UCLA at the beginning of the season and beat them. I mean, they're scoring crazy points. 73 points last night. I mean, what do you do about Houston? I'm sure, we would all pay and see them play against a Stanford team or, somebody, Boise State, somebody who would score points with them to see how if they can keep scoring. But Case Keenum is the real deal. So, I don't know. In my opinion, hey, if you go undefeated, you go undefeated. Don't discredit someone's ability to go undefeated. You play who they put in front of you. If you beat them, you beat them. And now let's start talking about the bad. We'll start out with the tame, and then we'll graduate into the sublime. Obviously, the fwampfwamp sports bad 3 teams last week are 3 teams that are head scratchers. The Patriots, I've said this for weeks, months of this season. Teams that can play their tight ends can beat the Patriots. Simple as that. Certain schemes in this league help the Patriots. The Jets don't play a certain style of football. For example, let me try to explain what I'm going to say. The Steelers, the Cowboys, and the Giants all have linebackers who can run, who possibly can cover, and therefore they take away Tom Brady's desire to throw the ball in the middle of the field. The Jets are a blitzing team. The Jets try to mix coverages up by basically playing to their strength, which is their secondary. Well, the Patriots take advantage of that because the Patriots nullify the Jets' secondary. The Giants' strength is their front 7. And so, therefore, they feel they can cover you with their linebackers and get pressure on your quarterback with their 4 people. The Jets don't feel that way. They have to blitz. And, therefore, the Jets struggle covering the Patriots. The Steelers the same way. The Steelers feel that their linebackers are fast enough to cover you. Even though the Steelers blitz a lot, they still feel that their linebackers can do something about the Patriots' tight ends, and they did something this year. And, of course, the Cowboys feel the same way. The Jets don't play that way. The Jets want their cornerbacks to cover your best receivers and then take their chances with their front 7. Their strength is the run defense, not the pass. And that's why the Patriots have success against them. That's why the Patriots threw for 500 yards against Miami, because they can't cover. Simple as that. This team has been discovered. You can figure out a way to cover their tight ends with your linebackers. You can beat them because they don't run the football enough. I keep saying the same thing about the Saints. Got to run the football some. And that's why they've lost the last couple of weeks. And they should have lost to the Cowboys. San Diego. San Diego's problem, as I was just saying to David, it just seems like the field is just too small. It's like Phillip Rivers goes back to pass and says, I'm going to throw it up in the air. If you catch it, great. If you don't catch it, please don't let it get intercepted. Last night, he looked like he was just throwing the ball up for grabs. It's like their receivers couldn't get away from the Raiders. It was like their linebackers of the Raiders was covering them. And then their run defense was atrocious. North Turner, you're not going to survive this season if your team does not make to the playoffs in advance. Period. Can't blame Phillip Rivers. I blame kind of the same thing I blame on the Patriots. They had no running game last night. Matthews is always hurt, and he's trying to play his way back onto the field. They can't win football games without a running game. You just simply can't. And that goes to the third team, which was the Chiefs. You have 4 impressive wins. You've gotten yourself back into the race. You're back into the conversation of the National Football League. You're back to people thinking that you're the team that you were a year ago. And then you lay an egg against an 0-7 team. Now, when the Giants lost to Seattle this year, at least they scored 20-something points. It was like 39-26, and it was a 90-something plus yard interception return while the Giants were going to try to tie the score. So, you can say, well, it was a competitive game. This game wasn't competitive at all. I mean, Matt Moore threw 3 touchdown passes. I mean, Kansas City is supposed to be invincible at home. It's supposed to be the toughest place to play in the National Football League traditionally. And they laid an egg. A nasty, stinking egg. Not acceptable, folks. Got to come to play every week. And it goes back to what I started to say before about play calling in the National Football League and in college. Take some chances. Don't fall in love with something that might have worked the previous week. Play how you play the way you are. If you are a running team, be a running team. If you're a team that, likes to sort of play blitzing or play zone or play to your strengths. Play calling in this league is ridiculous. It's like teams get out there in the field and coaches overthink. If you're running the ball down to the 10-yard line, why throw the ball into the end zone? Run it into the end zone. And the Chiefs last week was a perfect example of they had absolutely nothing working. The Chiefs' bread and butter is their running game. They start trying to throw the ball all over the place. You're not that team. There'll be a time and place for that. When the weather starts getting cold and you need to run it more, you can run it. But just these 3 teams, just laying eggs at their absolute worst possible time. I mean, I'm not going to slag the Eagles because I feel that the Bears were a better team that night. And it was a good game. But Eagles receivers, stop dropping the ball. Catch the ball. Pittsburgh, what is going on with your run defense? Yes, Ray Rice didn't run crazily against you, but you're definitely not the same Pittsburgh defense, and Harrison was back, and he played great. I mean, you're supposed to be this vaunted defense, and the Ravens are going 90-plus yards for a game-winning score. Things are not good there, folks. They need to remedy that very quickly. Some more bad. Kyle Busch is a nut. Kyle Busch supposedly, in one of the races last Friday, decided to wreck someone in a race just out of spite. So he was suspended for the weekend. They kind of grounded him so he couldn't drive. And like his team is trying to decide whether or not they should even get rid of him. At some point, you got to grow up. At some point, you have to grow up. And when you're driving cars doing 100-plus miles an hour, yeah, you might know how to crash someone without killing them. But come on. You're one of the best drivers in the race, in the circuit. Let that be the story. Not some stupid, whatever you're doing. We got another call. Thank you for calling. This is Richard. How may I help you?
Yeah, Ron Hornaday going for a truck championship, and Kyle Busch, he should have been suspended a few races.
Oh, he should be done for the season.
Definitely.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense to try to take somebody out because of, you got some personal vendetta. And, this is not the first time. I mean, about Keselowski and he having all their issues over the past few years. I mean, grow up.
Definitely, I agree. And he's not even a regular truck driver. He's a cup driver, sprint driver.
I just don't get, the focus sometimes. I mean, he does great in all the circuits. He does great in the Busch race. He does great in the truck. He does great in the Cup too. So let that be the story about how good a driver you are, instead of trying to take somebody out of a race be the story.
I agree. Hey, nice talking with you.
All right, be good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
The other person that I want to get all over, John Daly. What is wrong with John Daly? If you saw this the other day, you thought you were watching a movie. You thought you were watching Tin Cup, actually. John Daly, again, had another implosive moment where he's essentially hit a ball into, I guess he went for a ruling on a hole, on the 10th hole down in Australia, and they basically said, sorry, John, you got a penalty shot. So he got assessed the penalty. So what does he do in the next hole? He hits a ball that goes into the water. So now he's mad. So now he's like, you know what? I don't care anymore. Hits another ball in the water. You know what? I don't care anymore. Hits another ball in the water. Hits 7 balls in the water. 7 balls in the water. And then says, you know what? I'm done. And they ask him these questions. What were you trying? What are you doing? And he's like, oh, if I had more balls, I'd hit more balls in the water. Ran out of balls, so yeah, I'm done. This guy is the 165th ranked player. He's not even that high. He's like 565th player ranked in the world. And here he is doing this ignoramus behavior, and he keeps getting invited to tournaments because he supposedly is a draw. Because supposedly, since he was a major champion, we're supposed to just genuflect towards him because he won a major in 91 and 95. And he's this compelling story because he's battled alcohol, and he's battled this demon and that demon. Who cares? These sponsors pay a lot. There's a lot of people who want to play golf, and they give John Daly chances, and all he does is make mockeries of them. It's an embarrassing shame. And we'll be back on 89.7 KLSM to finish the bad and go into the ugly, because the next two out of the next three topics are just disturbing. And we'll be back after this.
How'd you like to get up to $12,000? It's the Army's enlistment.